Okay, there we go. Thank you. So, I have been... I think I jumped too quickly into the execution side of things last time. I was really excited about my mocap software and, you know, learning what its limits were and stuff. I think I need to spend more time on the theory first. Or you know, storyboard it out. You know what I mean? But also, it's pretty hot in Idaho right now, and within the next couple of hours it's going to get hotter, so I probably shouldn't be doing any mocap anyways. My biggest problem with what I've been trying to plan here is the elevator between the first interaction with the HECUC and the first fight, if it makes any sense. The first actual fight. It's cut. It's really awkwardly cut by an elevator. Okay, let me see. No, Sebastian, I will not twerk for you. Okay, maybe a little, but not right now, dadgubbit. Later when we're alone, maybe. I don't know. Let me pull up what I mean. If I can. Yes. Yes, he's watching. He's judging me. I'm going to open up the highly unstable sandbox, even though it's not really super duper necessary, just to help illustrate what I'm talking about. Because the problem I have when the more I've thought about this is that like, why would Gordon needs time to process his first kill, right? And then he just goes onto the elevator for some reason up into a whole bunch of new guys, and it's super awkward. Like, it doesn't fit very well. The nice thing is, because this is a video, we can kind of cut. We can just cut the elevator out. We can imply that he did ride an elevator, but like we just cut it out for pacing purposes. You know what I mean? My problem with the elevator is that it ruins the pacing. From a game design perspective, it was a very smart move to do it that way. It tells the player, hey, you're about to fight a whole bunch of new enemies. And that's why the music kind of, yeah, like, let me play the We've Got Hostiles music real quick, so you guys can see what I'm saying. So, like, this starts playing as you're going up the elevator. It's supposed to, like, hype you up to get you ready, right? It's telling you there's a fight coming up. And that works really well for a game, but like, that works really well for a game, but for the purposes of what I'm trying to do, where is it? Here we go. For the purposes of what I'm trying to do, the music works after Gordon starts his fight, right? But it doesn't work as the lead up because he's still processing his first kill, basically, his first human kill. And to have this kind of hype up music while he's still processing doesn't fit with what I want to do. You know what I mean? Right. Let me find what I'm talking about. So, right about... I'm trying to remember. Oh, here we go. Okay, so... it's a little bit broken right now. I just kind of ignore it. Anyways, so... we were going to start the video right about here with these two scientists in here. Right? They're trapped by laser trip mines on this side and kind of sentry lasers on the other, right? And then Gordon comes across them. They give him just like a little bit of exposition. Something along the lines of hey, the Marines told us to stay here and wait for, and they'll come back for us or something, right? And they set up these things as they went, told us not to touch them. We don't really know what to do. And Gordon kind of helps. I don't know if he helps them, or if he deactivates the trip mine or something along those lines, right? But he proceeds in this direction, right? The scientists tell him, hey, the Marines went this direction. And he's like, okay, I should probably meet up with them, right? Why wouldn't he, right? He thinks they're there to rescue him, right? So he goes up here, or we start here and then we cut to here looking down, right? Something just to kind of show that to the people who have played Black Mesa before, they can at least see it very, very quickly, right? Goes in here, sees the Marines, either singular or plural. There's the screaming dude who's hysterical because I think there's a head crab crawling up him and he's all cut and bleeding everywhere and he's freaking out. These guys shoot him because there's a whole bunch of confusion, right? Gordon, I don't know if he shoots one of these guys in the confusion, and then basically he has to sit here and process what's going on. And then he stands in an elevator for a solid... he stands in the elevator for a little while, and then when it gets to the top, he has a fight. Right? And that's kind of awkward, right? The way you do this in like a movie, I would imagine what would happen is Gordon gets a little bit of time to process what just happened, but then a Marine comes down, or like pretend this elevator doesn't even exist, right? Pretend that this doorway leads directly to this doorway, right? The door opens, a Marine sees Gordon, and he sees the dead body of another Marine, and then he just starts shooting, right? That's what would happen in a movie, in my opinion, right? Because it's less awkward, you know? But we've got this elevator here, and it's causing problems. You know what I mean? And so what I kind of want to do is use... yeah, I'm not a cinematographer, right? I don't have a knowledge or really an education in film. I think there might be some kind of trick you can use to fix this kind of awkwardness. And I'm thinking it might be as simple as cutting from Gordon dealing with this guy to him almost done ascending this elevator, right? And just do a cut, right? So to the viewer, it seems kind of quick, but to Gordon, you know, who knows how much time he had to process it or something. I don't know. It's really awkward in general, and this is kind of what's been hanging me up. Right, like, whenever Gordon's down here dealing with what's going on in here, I don't think there would be music, or at least the fighting music wouldn't be appropriate. You know what I mean? So I need to look up traditional storyboarding techniques and figure out how to apply them, because I'm kind of flailing around in a very amateurish way trying to deal with this, because mostly what I deal with is games, not film. You know what I mean? The whole I should add, the whole reason I'm doing this is because I don't have enough time to, in order to fill out my narrative design portfolio, I don't have time to make like a book, or to, and maybe I can make a game, like a text adventure kind of game. I might do that, but I don't have a lot of space or time to really develop myself as a writer, except within bshift. And even then, that's only to a limited extent, because I'm not dealing with like the dialogue and stuff. Really what this is supposed to be is to showcase that I can handle high risk, high reward writing. Does that make any sense? Because a lot of writing can be super low risk. You're just writing generic dialogue for an NPC or something, and you're deliberately you're not doing a whole bunch of emotional picky stuff. You're just doing kind of neutral things. It's very low risk writing. You know what I mean? It's like, I think most people can handle low risk writing. You know what I mean? It's the high risk stuff that should go in a portfolio, you know. And it's kind of the whole reason why I'm trying to attempt this. But I I need to do more research into filmmaking techniques, because there are some things that need to be ironed out from a pacing perspective. My instincts, at least, are right on that front, and I need to be able to demonstrate that. You know what I mean? There's no music at all until the elevator first takes you to the surface? Really? So this doesn't happen until here then, huh? Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Well, I guess in that case, I mean, it still doesn't really change anything. We're still going to need some kind of sound, I'd say some kind of music for what's going on here. You know what I mean? And then maybe I was thinking of using the We've Got Hostile soundtrack for basically a montage of Gordon fighting through the rest of this chapter, if that makes any sense. They're just kind of cutting. Every time Gordon gets into a fight, I do a section of that, right? I skip all these walkable, like, hallways and tunnels, and I skip right to, right, like, here's the next fight. Like, I just cut straight to this or something, right? I was thinking of just using the We've Got Hostile soundtrack, because that already kind of, it's what everybody remembers, you know what I mean? The problem really is this part right here. I don't really know what to do. I think I might take the low risk option and not do any sound, or any, how do I put this? What might be smart is there's ambient sound, maybe shooting in the distance, and sort of soundscape stuff going on, and then when Gordon goes through all this stuff, the sound just kind of fades out, or everything starts becoming muffled or something. You know what I mean? Just to kind of drive home how much this means to him. You know what I mean? Yeah. No, I believe you, Michael. What soundtrack does play during this scene? I can't remember. Hold on. I'm trying to remember what the... I'm gonna go with C1A3D.
God, you're here.
Do I have music on? Yeah. I can barely hear it, but it's there. I mean, this is more appropriate. More nostalgic. Hey, Vast. Is this diabolical? Let me see. It's funny because it would almost be more appropriate for Gordon to just snap and hate the HECUC. You know what I mean? But he doesn't. The way I've written this scene so far, it doesn't come off that way, right? It the way I wanted to write this was that it came like the first incident was sort of an accident that escalated, right? I don't think he'd hate them, but in order to segue into this music, he almost kind of, not that he has to, but he has to kind of anticipate that a fight is going to happen. He can anticipate that if he's going to start the fight, but if he goes up an elevator and encounters the HECUC, they're not going to know he did anything wrong, right? Like, why would he take the Marine's body onto the elevator with him? You know, that's really weird. Oh, it's Kawa. Okay. Yeah. Let's storyboard this out. Oh, he did start storyboarding this. Okay, that's good. Is he falling on his? I can't remember. I don't know about that, honestly. Yeah, we need to make a top down of this. Yeah. Let's do that. I mean, not necessarily even the fight, just to help plan out. Okay, this is it right here. I'm pretty sure. Oh, let's go like that. Give ourselves a little bit more room and all this junk. Okay, and here, and I guess we'll do a little bit of this too. I'm so used to, in half reality at least, like doing everything very, very linearly, but we're going to be cutting a lot of these sections together, I would think. The low risk writer part of me wants to make Gordon either number one angry at the Marines that he just charges in fighting, or number two he overhears from like a radio what the Marines are really doing there and understands that they're the bad guys and he needs to fight them. Because that's what the music is telling me. That's what the game has been telling everyone. The high-risk writer in me wants to flip this on its head and make people think about how Gordon would actually react in these situations, and kind of introduce the idea that it was a kind of an escalating thing that happened with the HECUC, and that it wasn't necessarily they were just bad guys right from the beginning, even though the game portrays them that way. Does that make any sense? It feels more believable to me that way. How do you put those two ideas together? Like, the only way I can think of is we need to look through different what's it called? Half-Life and Black Mesa's soundtracks to find something that actually fits the emotions I want to portray here. This is very difficult to do, to try to marry two what are basically opposing ideas and make them seamless, to address kind of both of them on some level. You know what I mean? trying to remember what we discussed last time. I think I was submitting most of it to memory. And just assuming I'd be able to remember it. I might have to go back and watch my previous. Fudge, I don't want to do that. I'm not sure if Gordon, if I remember having, if I have Gordon, when he comes here, I'm not sure if I have Gordon. If anything happens yet while Gordon's up here, I thought it was gonna wait till he gets down here. I'm trying to remember. I mean, it's slowly coming back to me. It's like something happens here, and then Gordon has to move really quickly to help them, and he falls down the stairs, and that's kind of what I wrote. I think that's why I wrote this here. That Gordon, I wrote it somewhere. Yeah, Gordon falls down the stairs. I wrote it for a reason. I think that's why. Okay, so fudge, I think I might have to look. Oh, you know what? I think everything goes down while Gordon's up here. I think that's what happens. So the HECUC shoots the scientist guy, Gordon and the HECUC point at each other. They exchange fire. The Marine stops fighting back because he's dying, I guess. And then Gordon stands there in shock for a bit, and then he runs as fast as he can down here to try to help them. Because I think maybe the scientist is still alive. Yeah, I think that's what's happening. Hmm. That should do. Go like this. I mean, I guess. uh, um, I'm still storyboarding things, Jake. I realized I kind of jumped into the execution too quickly. Um, I realized I wanted to work more on the theory side of things first before I went too far, because, um, especially for this scene specifically, uh, I'd be willing to keep working on half reality, but I really can't devote a ton of energy to it outside of like maybe writing for it, right? So I could make mocap, and then someone else could refine it, um, and render it and do a lot of that, even if it has to be posted on like their YouTube channel or something. You know what I mean? Like that might be how half reality continues to be made, but um, but I can't really spend like a ton of time on it, other than maybe a couple hours every weekend writing. You know what I mean? Um, mm, okay, this is crazy. Okay, this is absolutely stupid. But what if Yeah, right. That's basically what's going on. So my original mindset I was kind of stuck in was that, yeah, I've written it out here, and now that I've written it out, I have a more structured brain. That's kind of the whole point, right? Some people forget to document these kind of things. Some people just kind of, from working on bshift, they just kind of do what their instincts tell them, and they don't document out how they want things to be done on paper first. Or I guess I should say they do from like a level design perspective. Like they'll draw a 2D layout of the level and what will happen, but they don't draw out what the characters will say and what the emotions would be like. Like I haven't really seen that. I didn't see that at all from HECUC Collective until we started working on Power Struggle. And now that I have it written out, I can understand that what seems natural to me is to just lean on the sort of panicky accident sort of mindset, if that makes any sense. Like, misunderstanding, or really lean on the sort of misunderstanding aspect of it, but not in like a solemn, quiet way, and more of a everybody just keeps misunderstanding each other. I think that's a better thing to lean on, if that makes any sense. And I think what fits the music, right, is that's really what I'm going off of here. What fits the music is that there is no time for Gordon to think. There's no time for hesitation. So he's got this head-crabbed scientist on the floor, muffled screaming because the head crab finally finished crawling up his chest and onto his head. You've got an injured Marine who's bleeding out on the floor. He's trying to get his tourniquet. He's trying to get his tourniquet on or something, right? And Gordon's just sitting here like, he's got these 200 people. What does he do, right? Even though he shot the Marine and the Marine shot back, he doesn't know what to do. He's panicking, right? So he drags both of them into the elevator, and then he starts trying to help. He starts trying to help the scientist. Like maybe he tries to pull the head crab off, but nothing's happening, and then he switches to the Marine. He starts trying to help the Marine, and the Marine is it actually starts like fighting him, like while he's on the ground bleeding out. He's like, ah, get off me, like trying to get the tourniquet or trying to push him away or just panicking, right? And Gordon's trying to help him, and all this while like they're going up the elevator. And then what that kind of feels like to me, right? Imagine he's going up the elevator and he's almost fighting this HECUC. He's trying to help him, and the HECUC's misunderstanding him. The HECUC is like, maybe the HECUC has like a wound on his neck or something, and so he's trying to hold it, and Gordon's like trying to hold his neck, but then the Marine feels like, oh, is this guy trying to choke me out or something? You know, just like a whole bunch of, I'm not going to specifically point at any theory. I'm just going to let the viewers kind of decide for themselves what the Marine was thinking. I'm just going to make it like everybody's misunderstanding each other kind of thing. So imagine there's a struggle in the elevator as it's going up, and He's panicking. He's going back to the scientist. Scientist rolling around with a head crab on his head. Marine's freaking out. He's sitting there trying to help both of them, switching back and forth, going up the elevator, trying to tie the tourniquet, trying to stop the bleeding, trying to pull the head crab off. He gets to the top, the gate opens, and there's a Marine standing there confused, and then he starts shooting, right? And then Gordon has to drop everything he's doing and just reacts to what's happening now. And that feels a lot more... It's a little less awkward. The elevator scene itself is going to be the really difficult transition. But it's less difficult than I think it would be before. Right, a giant mishmash of just misinformation. And just high on adrenaline, right? Which is the name of the song, right? And then I think the theme, the general theme after the fighting starts, would be it transitions from Gordon kind of taking turns shooting back and then trying to stop them from shooting at him like he's putting his hand out. It transitions from that and to, by the end, by the end of the music, he is like, what's the word? He has gone from being reactive and trying to communicate to ambushing the HECUC. Like preemptively, right? There's like a transition to that, if that makes any sense. I think that might be a great way to paint it. Rambo first. I think I haven't seen that. I probably should. Let me write that down. Okay. That sounds so much more appealing. Now I want to hear how it sounds with the We've Got Hostile soundtrack. And that, it does not work. I think we have to go with this one. It doesn't quite fit the panic. This panic works so much better, I think. Yeah. I'm hallucinating right now. Give me a second. Yeah. Yeah, the Zen soundtrack is pretty good. Yeah, I feel like a good portion of the first part of that fight would be, or the series of fights is him, yeah, like avoiding fighting. When the Marine starts shooting, he ducks and throws him down to the ground. Yeah, like I like kind of sort of tackles him and pushes him out of the way or something. And I really like that compared to what I was handling last time. Like, it's a complete surprise to the HECUC in that room. So there is only one guy watching that elevator door as they come up. So Gordon only has to surprise one guy and then dive into the side room. Let me go up again. Right, so he comes up the elevator. He surprises the guy right here, or the guy starts shooting him, and he tackles the guy, throws him out of the way. Who knows, right? And then he manages to run into this room before the rest of the HECUC can really realize what happened. Does that make sense? That way, there's more confusion instead of order, and that really helps because the more confusing it is, the less work it is to animate. The less thought I have to put into the position of everybody and all that junk. I can just everybody's panicking. You know what I mean? So Gordon can just run in here. Um, he starts fumbling with his weapon, trying to reload it or something. Then a HECUC, maybe he runs over here to check on what happened, sees Gordon, and then they start shooting at each other. And then Gordon manages to run up this way while everybody's still looking this way, and then Gordon can run this way. And then, yeah, like he can start drawing people away and being just confusing in general. Because like what I had last time was really awkward from a fighting point of view, because I had the Marines stack on this door and get ready to flush Gordon out with grenades. And this will be less work because everybody's confused and nobody knows exactly what's going on or exactly where the enemy is or who the enemy is. Like, that's just a better overall writing theme in general. I'm really glad I reapproached this from a theory perspective because I was about to jump in without really thinking it through. The grenade launcher, right? Because Gordon would pick up a SMG. I don't think he'd have time to do that yet. I think he'd have to pick one up during the fight or something. Let's figure that out. Oh, that's a good question, Kawa. Remaking the soundtrack. The OG soundtrack, the whole point of making a Half-Life movie is nostalgia. So I think they'd have to, if they don't use the original soundtrack, there's a serious problem. You know what I mean? I don't think they should be using Black Mesa assets or a soundtrack. I think, right? It might seem that way just because Black Mesa is a faithful recreation, but like they should be going off of Half-Life 1. Yeah, I guess I don't know. I guess it really just depends. Mm. Kane Persons, is that the guy who made the backrooms? I can't remember. I don't keep track of that kind of stuff. Oh, that would be amazing. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I hope he does. I guess I would trust him more than some random Hollywood freaking guy. You know what I mean? I trust a fan of the games more than I would some random Hollywood turd. Better in theaters, yeah. Yeah, I know what part you're talking about, Jake. Let's see. So this part right here, where the scientists run out over here and get shot, this is where, this is what you're talking about. You say they would have known, right? They would have been radio contact. I don't think Gordon would have killed everybody in the first room. That's what I was originally going for. But now I think Gordon just freaking just starts running. He shoots at people who shoot at him, or he pushes them aside, and he's just full deer in the headlights panic. You know what I mean? Really just leverage the misunderstanding, the misinformation. Honestly, Jake, again, like this is just a great theme for what's going on here. More misunderstanding. Gordon is still running, I think, right? We so this entire really long walkway section, I'm gonna cut that out, or I'll cut most of it out. Like Gordon just starts running and he turns around and shoots behind him just to get them off his back, and then we cut straight to like right here, where he's still shooting behind him, and he runs around this corner at like full speed, and there are scientists here who were like confused, and they heard all the commotion and the shooting, and they start running because they don't know what's happening, and so they run towards the Marines like maybe they were hiding at first, but now they're like, again, just like in a confusion kind of thing. Like we could do, for instance, one thing we could do is we could have a Marine standing next to the scientist right here, and he's talking to them. He could just be talking to them, but not just talking to, like, as Gordon approaches, the guy is like listening, trying to figure out what's going on. The scientists are kind of backed up against the wall, scared. He's not pointing at them necessarily, but he's ready for something, right? Gordon runs in and maybe just like runs right into the dude around the corner or something. Like we could even do that. Like maybe the Marine starts walking right here, and Gordon just freaking lands up against the guy or something on a total accident, right? And maybe they get into a small fist fight or something. I don't know. Who knows? And then the scientists are freaking out, right? They see commotion and they start running from what's going on here. They run into this room. These HECUC don't know what's happening. All they know is they're humans fighting each other. What's going on? They're shouting at the scientists to stop. Scientists aren't listening. They shoot the scientist while Gordon can see it, and that just kind of like solidify. Like, there's a lot of nuance. I would have to work this out more because I'm not, like, what I just said is not perfect. Like, we still need to storyboard this out, but like we just lean on the confusion. We lean on the confusion. We lean on. We try to make it vague. We try to make it vague as to whether the Marines are shooting the scientists deliberately, or if they're doing it because they're confused. We make it vague. We give the viewers the creative freedom to decide what the Marines are thinking when they shoot the scientists. Does that make any sense? We let them decide whatever they want, because that's really important. I think we shouldn't be dictating that as much. Let me write that down before I forget. Left open. Right. Show, don't tell. Or something like that. I don't remember. There's so many little narrative, like sayings that apply to so many different situations. Like, what often happens is that writers will just deliberately not do certain, like, narrative sayings just to be unexpected, right? Because being unexpected is important, right? It's all. So much of writing is instinct. There's so much of writing is instinct, and it's not scientific. This is the best possible way to make your writing fun. Like, there's no scientific answer necessarily. Sometimes there is. A lot of the times there is. That people have tested certain things, but like, so much of it is just instinct. And that's why I'm really happy to do this in front of an audience of people. I think I gotta flip this upside down. Yeah. Okay, so when it comes to the airstrikes, honestly, what I think happens is that by the time Gordon gets to the surface, the HECUC have realized, hey, they're fighting somebody with HEV technology, right? Now the HECUC they have like PCV technology, right? So they already understand its limitations and advantages and all that stuff. They have tactics built around it, everything like that. So they understand how dangerous HEV tech is, right? So they realize, okay, there's an HEV guy on the loose down there. I think they start bombing the surface to prevent Gordon from staying up there, to drive him back underground, because he is completely slaughtering them. You know what I mean? And I think I think it, again, it's just like a panic thing, right? If we lean back on the panic kind of thing, they're bombing the surface. In real life, U.S. military members will call artillery on themselves if they feel it necessary. So I can absolutely see the HECUC bombing themselves, but it would only be if the Marines are calling the fire on top of their own heads on purpose. Does that make sense? So they'd be doing that because they're panicking. They need to drive him back underground. The difference I would make is that when the Marines call fire, like call artillery support on their own heads, they're not standing out in the open shooting at Gordon while that's happening. They are taking cover. They're hiding behind things. They're lying on the ground, covering their head. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I would do it. All right. So before I get too off track, see you, Jake. Yeah, I'm probably gonna stop streaming in about like 30 minutes to an hour. It's starting to get kind of hot in here. It's like 86 degrees. See you later. gonna play this song again. So the thing about this song is that there's a cooldown section, like halfway through, and it's kind of long. When is the best time to handle that? I would imagine like the elevator that goes up to the surface for the final sort of battle up there. I have to listen to that again. Then he gets into the elevator, checking all his weapons, reloading, getting hyped up for the next fight. Fighting in here, bombs going off, the roof caving in, people diving behind cover. My only problem, if we're taking this literally from the song, is that after Gordon goes through the elevator to the surface, it's like another 45 seconds or something. He does so much fighting. Like, we have to make him go. Like, he's shooting, he checks the door, can't open it, runs over here, checks this door, can't open it, because most of the fire is coming from over here or something, I don't know. he runs outside, and then he kind of stumbles around trying to figure out where to go, and there's like bombs going off, and I don't know if there's enough time. This would be trickier to figure out from a timing perspective, because for the rest of You've Got Hostiles, it's easy. I can take the best parts of every fight in every one of these rooms and just cut them, and cut between them. And Gordon can just cut to different sections, right? It's easier to compress a large thing into a smaller thing than it is to stretch it out, in my opinion. Extend, well, no, it's the opposite. I want to shorten it. Oh, hey! Kylo Gaben is, oh my gosh. I haven't talked to you in forever, man. How's it going? Fudge, you from freaking freshman year of high school. It's been a really long time. Good grief. How's it going, man? You completely caught me off guard. How's life, man? What have you been up to? I haven't really been looking at Facebook or anything like that. Yeah, yeah. I would say the same thing, except it's like 86 degrees right now, and it's only going to keep getting hotter. I'm in Idaho right now. Let's see. Let me start from the bottom here again. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I guess a quick catch up. Uh, I don't know. I started kind of animating in, like, doing motion capture animation in like 2020, and ever since then I've been slowly building up to just game development in general. And now I'm what's called a narrative designer, which is kind of like a writer, except narrative designer kind of liaisons between the game writer and a game development team, and kind of make sure they can fit together, because those genres, because those mindsets don't often mix, right? I've been doing that for Black Mesa Blue Shift since, well, for a year and a half now, the writing side of things, but I've been with them since like late 2021. Anyways, I'm a game developer. I'm not making a ton of money, but once Blue Shift is over, I might start. I don't know. For now, I'm Matt, I don't have time to write a book or write a movie script or anything like that. I don't have time to be a full writer. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to kind of speed run the process a little bit by like streaming and getting people's ideas and iterating quickly. Yeah. You probably remember how much I used to talk about Half-Life. I don't know if you were ever a super big fan of it, but it's basically consumed my life now. For better or for worse. I don't know how much longer I'll be able to keep it up, because, you know, the economy is crap and the game development industry is a freaking dumpster fire. I'm not betting anything on being able to make money from it, but I'm almost there, I think. I don't know. If we finish Blue Shift within the next 2 years, I might be able to get a job at that point. I'll have a high enough quality portfolio. I might at least be able to start freelancing or something. Who knows? Right now, I'm a janitor at a high school, so I spend most of my time. either cleaning or doing maintenance tasks while I daydream about random crap. Yeah, that's the idea. And the real question is, do we want to include this part right here where the Marines come down from the ceiling? Because it's really cramped in here, and it's not really a very cinematic yeah, I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm, like, once Gordon descends this ladder, I think that's where I'm going to cut it off, so he has time to breathe when he's standing around this area, I think. Oh, nice! You're going to play Half of Alex. Yeah, I mean, a TF2 was really our thing. I still remember. Oh, man. Honestly, if it wasn't for Half-Life, TF2 would be my chosen autistic focus, I guess you could call it. Like 1000%. Let's see. Yeah, I think what I'm going to do, and I just kind of played it out in my head, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have Gordon... there's going to be like 1 or 2 people up here, maybe 1 or 2 people up here, and he can shoot at them while he kind of takes cover behind these boxes and shoots back, and then he cuts over here. Maybe he jumps down and he starts trying to check the doors, see how he can escape, right? And eventually he says, screw it, and he just runs out in the open. And then they start bombing, and then he starts... Maybe an explosion behind him like motivates him to run forwards, right? And then he kind of runs around here shooting, panicking, and then he manages to, maybe like he tries to get into this door but can't. But he can see through the bars that this door is open, so he goes around and goes. I think there's enough time. I think I can stretch it out. I think that shouldn't be too bad. Yeah, it's a bit silly, so we'll just cut it out. Or we'll cut it before that, I guess. I don't know if they could airstrike Gordon's exact location, because he's moving around so much, and artillery is kind of inaccurate anyways. And I don't even know, honestly, I don't think it's full artillery that's shooting Gordon, like the 150mm shells or anything crazy. Like, I'm pretty sure they are mortars, because mortars are so much more portable, and the ordnance is less heavy, so it's less of a burden of logistics. I'm pretty sure what Gordon is experiencing in this place is mortar stuff, and not necessarily full bombardment. I think it could be a mixture. I think we could do 1 or 2 massive, like, I think one of these towers gets blown up at one point. That would be a good example, but a lot of these other ones might be just mortar as well. Yeah, that's a bit more survival, I think, even for Gordon, or mortar strikes instead of artillery strikes. Well, Mimosa. Like I said, or sorry, Kawa. Really, it's you can call artillery on yourself. That happens sometimes. It's a last ditch. Hey, we're about to get overrun, and the enemy is going to bayonet us. We'd rather die by explosion than get stabbed or something. I think that's kind of where it's used. Um, if you're outnumbered and getting overrun, like yeah, you're gonna artillery is gonna kill you, but because there's more of the enemy, it's going to kill way more of the enemy. Especially because generally when you're getting overrun, you're in some kind of dugout position. You have a bit more time to prepare for incoming artillery, whereas the enemy that's overrunning you doesn't have anywhere to really hide. That's kind of where it's used. Um, and in this case, they call a strike on themselves and then they start lying on the ground, covering their heads, or they um, wedge themselves up against rocks or against walls, or they run inside this building, or well, honestly, one or two might run inside here, and Gordon has to push them aside to get inside or something. I don't know. It really just depends on the pacing. But I would imagine that most of them vacate standing in the open when this happens. Even to the point of some of them standing right here and shooting this. The way, I think it's called, what's the word? Danger close. Danger close is like something like 200 meters, or maybe it's 600. Let me look it up. $600. If you're within 600 meters of a bombardment that is from friendlies, that's considered danger close. So it's funny because what I'd say is I have Marines out here who shooting inwards because they know they're not going to get bombed. That's normally what I would have said, except that there's a reason they say 600 meters, because it's like a safety margin, right? Something like within 200 meters is basically on top of yourself, or something like that, right? So if there's bombs going off, if there's strikes going off here, you're not going to be standing over here shooting. You're going to be hiding too. So, it's like I think, oh fudge, it's hard to say because at this point, the other thing we have to do is it's nice to be able to say what our intention is, but it's another to translate that so that the viewer understands that's what's actually happening. Does that make any sense? We can say what we want to do, but that doesn't mean the viewers are going to actually understand it or interpret it the way we want them to. You know what I mean? And if you guys are thinking they wouldn't do that, then that's what most viewers would think, which means it has to be addressed in some way, right? We can't just ignore it and hope that they get it right. It is kind of a divisive topic. It's not a very common sense thing that everyone would understand, right? That's the downside of being realistic, is just because something is realistic doesn't mean that people are going to intuitively understand it. It's still going to break them out of their flow state. It's going to make them ask questions during the movie or whatever, right? During the video, they shouldn't be asking questions. They should be able to understand kind of what's happening on some level without being, Mom, what's happening? And then Mom has to pause the video and explain it. You know what I mean? Like, not that I want a mom to watch this. I don't know if it's appropriate, but yeah, like, yeah, it's hard to say. Like, maybe we should do. The other thing is and this is something we kind of, it's what happened in Captive Freight, right? In Captive Freight, the shelling is massive, right? Big explosions. Those are 150 mil shells for sure, right? They are absolutely using like traditional artillery on the BMRF in captive freight. So, right, and the thing is that captive freight takes place at the same time as we've got hostiles, right? Or at least the very end of captive freight takes place and we've got hostiles. And I guess you could say it's different ordnance, but no, I'm starting to lean towards bigger explosions, yeah. Um, but if I want my way, then I need to make sure that the Marines in this area are not have either taken cover or have like vacated the area, right? That's realistically what they do. If they're going to call fire on themselves, they'd vacate the area. But that doesn't mean all of them would. I think some of them would be hiding, right? Like you might see one or two cowering in here. Like maybe Gordon tries to run in here, sees a couple guys, and then runs away while shooting backwards or something, right? The same could be said from there are Marines shooting out of these holes at Gordon. That could happen. I think we could actually get rid of some of these concrete barriers, so that they can do that. Right, that's what I'm thinking. Right, some kind of exposition. If Gordon overhears it, maybe he overhears it while going up the elevator. That's honestly probably the best time for that to happen. He hears echoing voices, or something. Right. The bombing the warehouse to collapse and trap Gordon. Honestly, that's honestly the filmmaker in me wants to make the warehouse collapse, but the work it would require to do that would be, I don't know how to do that. I'm a mocap guy, right? I'd have to pay one of my fellow bshift developers to make what's called a cinephysics of like a warehouse roof and its supports or something. I think that might be worth it, honestly, at this point, right? Let's say, the music starts, let's say it starts up again. He's going up the elevator, he overhears what's going on, and then he runs to the room, and then it starts getting bombed to pieces. Maybe there's so much to do in such a small area. It's really awkward. It's really awkward. The problem is if we start exploding the warehouse. Okay, so maybe what happens is Gordon, he does what I was initially thinking, which is he gets behind cover, he starts shooting back at Marines as he tries to find a way out of the warehouse, like where to go next, right? Just to escape. And as he's moving around trying different doors, then they start bombing the roof, and it starts collapsing, and then that motivates him to leave the building. That would make sense, right? Because if he can see the outside is being bombed, he's not going to go outside. What motivates him to go outside is that things are starting to happen behind him, and he needs to escape. Right? That makes sense to me. The problem, again, is like, how do we pad more? How do we pad more time? And there's a part of me that thinks there's a part of me that thinks that Gordon tries to find ways inside different concrete structures or buildings, and eventually he sees this one and he's like, okay, I've got a plan to go in here, and then an explosion knocks him like all the way back over here and he has to start over or something. That might buy more time. You know what I mean? But I don't know if that would be silly or not. If that would be... Let me hallucinate it in my head real quick. Let me see. Okay, I think that's enough time. There's a little bit of padding right here. A little bit of padding can be, it doesn't need a ton of padding. But Gordon would just be kind of like running around like a headless chicken, trying to figure out where to do, what to, figure out like where to go, where is safe. Like he tries this first, and then that doesn't work. He goes over here, that doesn't work. He goes over here. That doesn't work, but then he sees there's a way in, he goes around and he gets in. I think that'll work. It's just enough time. Oh, hey, Faber. What? We have a meeting? What do you mean? Did you guys have it? What? Freaking turds. What happened? You had one. Dadgummit. Did Cybo make more progress? Man, I really need to see it. Ah, it's starting to get pretty hot in here anyways. It's 87 degrees. It's going to keep rising. I think I made some good progress though. I better document everything else I made. And I think I may as well get off. Oh, he finished it? Oh. Maybe I'll ping him and ask him to show me then. Alright, hold on. I'll get off. Alright, guys. See you later.